Good morning and welcome. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we join together in singing number 1018, Come and Go With Me. Number 1018.
It is good to be together, and it matters that you are here. It matters whether you have been a part of this community for your entire life, or a very good portion of it, or if you bravely signed on to a YouTube channel this morning, or wandered into the sanctuary wondering if this might be the spiritual home you are looking for. If you are new and watching online and are feeling even braver, introduce yourself in the chat and consider filling out the newcomer survey at UUAA.org/newcomer survey so we can connect with you and answer any questions you might have. And if you are here in person and new, we invite you to stop by the Jackson Chapel for a newcomer welcome. Just go out these doors, up a little ways, and on the right, across from the name tag wall, is the Jackson Chapel, and someone will be there to help answer your questions. We are a congregation that has focused on justice work in some form since 1865. Today, we have the opportunity to go deeper into learning about our current anti-racism, anti-oppression work, ARAO for short. We can learn about this at a virtual gathering table this afternoon. You must register to get the Zoom link, but that can be done easily at UUAA.org. You follow the news and events link, and from there, you'll see a notice about the gathering table. And there will be more details about this event a bit later in the service. Today, we will also honor one of our ministers upon her departure from UUAA. All are invited to spend some time in the social hall after the service and share cake, conversation, and coffee with Reverend Cassie. We are gathered on the chancel and spilling out into the rows. Today in particular, you will see how expansive the we is. I'm Reverend Theresa Rohlck, Minister for Pastoral Care, and I'm joined by Reverend Manish Mishra-Marzetti, our Senior Minister, Dr. Carter Smith, the Acting Director of Music Ministries, and the Director of the Chalice Singers, and the Chalice Singers. Stella Anderson, our Director of Spiritual Growth and Development. Ruth Norton and Avalon McNew are presenting our story today. Allison Hallers, our pianist in residence. Mike Hallers, our technology consultant. Quincy Northrup will be speaking on the congregation's ARAO work. Our guest for sharing the collection is Kathy Gourlay, and you will hear from board member Corrine Moore as we honor Reverend Cassandra Hartley. And you'll see the youth who will be lighting our chalice. So we are gathered for sure, but with you all, we are gathered for worship. The history of the chalice as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism is directly tied to justice work that the Unitarian Service Committee, USC, was carrying out in Europe during World War II. A chalice logo was created for the USC and became a symbol of hope and safety for the many people being persecuted by the Nazi regime. So each time we light our chalice, we are linked to our past and our strong history of being a religious community committed to justice work. Hold that image in your hearts and minds, and hold the image of young people participating to help us light the chalice today. As you will hear later in our story, the role of young people in justice work is crucial. So I invite Charlotte Hildebrandt and Emerson Hartley Bean to come on up. And if you are watching at home, I invite you to get your chalice or a candle and please light it along with us. So as they are getting ready, I'll ask you to join in the words. There they are. Magic. If you would join me in speaking our chalice lighting words. We light this chalice for the light of truth. We light this chalice for the warmth of love. We light this chalice for the energy of action. We light this chalice for the harmony of peace. Thank you both. A defining feature of Unitarian Universalism is our adherence to covenant rather than a creed or a uniform belief system. So all are welcome, even if you are new, to join in saying the words we use each week to remind us of how we choose to be in relationship with one another. Would you join me in saying, the spirit of this church is love, and service is its law. This is our covenant with each other, to dwell together in peace, to search for truth in love, and to help one another.
I'd like to invite Reverend Cassandra Hartley to join me in the pulpit along with Corrine Moore, a member of our Board of Trustees. As most in our community are aware by now, this past week marks Reverend Cassandra's, Reverend Cassie's last week in our community as one of our ministers. I've invited Corrine Moore to share a few words with us in honoring Cassie on behalf of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, and thank you to the Board of Trustees for giving me this opportunity to share and to honor Reverend Cassie. Reverend Cassie was one of the first faces I came to know 5 years ago when my family started attending services. Many of us are grateful for her service, kind words, peaceful presence, the time she put in coordinating and leading SGD and providing pastoral care. Beauty isn't always about what you see or touch. More often, it's what can be felt with the heart. When Reverend Cassie shared, she shared from the heart. When she engaged from the heart. Her spirit has become an important part of our culture. She's given us insight and stories that we will no doubt carry with us going forward. Our relationship with Reverend Cassie brings to mind a quote from Allie Connie, an English teacher and author of young adult books. She once said, "Growing apart doesn't change the fact that for a long time we grew side by side. Our roots will always be tangled. I'm glad for that." We are truly blessed to have had Cassie in our leadership, and because we are connected and entangled, the community she helps lead next will inherit a special piece of our story. Reverend Cassie led a particularly memorable service in October 2022. She talked about seminary, divorce, the human tendency to pull each other down instead of boosting each other up. She talked about finding the courage and strength to face uncertainty. She referenced a song from the Disney movie Frozen and said that we can't always predict or choose what happens to us, but we can make the choice to hear the still small voice within us, the voice that says, just do the next right thing. Reverend Cassie offered not just practical steps, words, and songs to help us face challenges and make it through the wilderness. She reminded us of the beauty in our travels and growth, and in pursuing the path to true authenticity. She ended by reading a desert prayer by Jan Richardson. I know that on that day, and many others throughout her time here at UUAA, Reverend Cassie offered many of us exactly what we needed. Today, let us extend the same to you. Reverend Cassie, may you not only have strength and courage in your new journey, but may you also receive tough angels, sweet wine, strong bread, just enough. May it be so.
Many of us have known Reverend Cassie as she has helped care for and bring the spirit of love alive with our community's children and teens and their parents and caregivers. Many of those little ones have grown up during her time in our community as one of their ministers. Many of you have taken adult enrichment classes, opportunities to deepen your own spiritual journey, your own understanding of what it means to be human with Reverend Cassie. Reverend Cassie's been an integral part of helping us build a stronger institution through revising, rewriting, or creating policies and procedures, especially our community's critical safety policies related to keeping our kids and our whole community safe and healthy. Some among us have had the opportunity to have Cassie bless their weddings and marriages and experience her tender and caring heart at times of memorial or graveside services or funerals. She has been a thoughtful, integral partner in helping craft all of the Sunday services that our planning team creates and brings to our community. And most importantly of all, I've experienced Cassie as a supportive, caring colleague and a good human being with a really beautiful and deep heart. Cassie, our love and appreciation will always be with you wherever life's journey may take you. May I invite the members of our community, as you're able, comfortably able, please take a moment to just rise in body or spirit. And I invite you to offer from your heart to Cassie's heart a heartfelt round of applause and appreciation for all of who she is and all that she has gifted to our community. For those of us who are here in person, we invite you to join us after the service. There'll be opportunities to more personally greet Cassie and express your love and appreciation. Please be seated.
I invite you to rise in body or spirit. And in celebration of Reverend Cassie's ministry here at UUAA, I invite you to sing with me, number 1074, Turn the World Around. come from the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living on the mountain. Go back to the mountain, turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Oh, so is life about you are. So is life. Oh, so is life about you are. So is life. Water make the river, river wash the mountain. Fire make the sunlight, turn the world around. Heart is of the river, body is the mountain. Spirit is the sunlight, turn the world around. We are of the Spirit, truly of the Spirit. Only can the Spirit turn the world around. Oh, so is life about you are. So is life. Oh, so is life about you are. So is life. Oh, so is life about you are. So is life. Oh, so is life about you are. So is life.
If you would now, please welcome to the pulpit one of the members of UUAA's Anti-Racism, Anti-Oppression Vision Priority Area Coordinating Team, Quincy Northrup, who will give us an overview of the ARAO work this congregation is engaged in.
Good morning. I am a member of that team just referenced, and I am going to repeat it again because it's a little complicated. The Anti-Racism, Anti-Oppression Vision Priority Area Coordinating Team. Well, let's start out with our major tasks. Number one is to open paths for the entire congregation to engage in anti-racism, anti-oppression. And number two, to work to support the more than 15 groups and teams already involved in community groups that are working in anti-racism and anti-oppression efforts. We hope to encourage, enhance, strengthen, and expand the connections with those community groups. And one of our major goals for this year is to give every member of the UUAA community a way to engage in some facet of our anti-racism, anti-oppression journey, including families, families with children, and people who are new to the congregation. We are at the beginning stage of planning more whole congregation activities, chances for us to enjoy each other's company, strengthen the connective tissues of our own congregation while we make a difference in our community. So please take a look at the Vision 2050 column in the February newsletter. You will find numerous ways to participate in anti-racism, anti-oppression activities in the coming weeks. And this afternoon, also as earlier mentioned, at 2 o'clock, we will be hosting a gathering table via Zoom where we will focus on community partnerships working to build a more just Washtenaw County. And to get the link, again, register at the link found in the bulletin or in the February e-newsletter. So please join us for a conversation with trusted community partners about what makes partnerships successful and where they can stumble. The two community partners that are participating are Habitat for Humanity and Friends of Restorative Justice. I'll share just a little bit about those two later on. This afternoon's gathering table also will give us an opportunity to learn from the Reverend Joe Summers, co-pastor at Ann Arbor's Episcopal Church of the Incarnation, about that congregation's journey in building social justice partnerships with community groups. We hope you will be able to participate in this afternoon's discussion. So our goal in today's service is to raise awareness about the breadth and depth of partnerships that our congregation's anti-racism, anti-oppression groups have already established. Here are 3 examples of thriving partnerships with community organizations. The first is Habitat for Humanity. Our congregation has been a valued partner with Habitat for Humanity of Huron Valley for over 20 years. We hold leadership roles in the Good News Group, an interfaith group of 16 area congregations that work together. The Good News Group started in 1997 and has helped over 35 families with their 70 children move into affordable, energy-efficient homes renovated by a combination of skilled labor and volunteers, of course. Our congregation donates over $7,000 a year toward the construction costs and provides worksite volunteers. Our Habitat for Humanity team helps families, neighborhoods, and the environment, and they have fun doing it. The second partnership is Restorative Justice Project. The UUAA Restorative Justice Project focuses on raising awareness that there are healing alternatives to the current punitive justice system in our community. The group works closely with the Dispute Resolution Center and Friends of Restorative Justice of Washtenaw County to provide members of our congregation with opportunities to work with currently and formerly incarcerated people to help heal the trauma of injustice and incarceration. The Restorative Justice team works with support groups such as A Brighter Way to assist formerly incarcerated individuals who are returning to our community through financial support, providing needed supplies, and helping to find housing. The third partnership is Alpha House. Alpha House is a shelter that provides temporary housing to unhoused families in Washtenaw County. It began over 30 years ago when our congregation joined with several other Ann Arbor congregations to found the Interfaith Hospitality Network to address family homelessness in Washtenaw County. Today, under the auspices of INH, Interfaith Hospitality Network, about 100 members of our congregation work with IHN staff and other congregations to support up to 6 unhoused families residing at Alpha House. Our congregation rotates Alpha House Host Week responsibilities with other participating congregations for 1 week, 4 times a year. During each Host Week, volunteers from our congregation cook and serve dinner, supervise children's activities, and prepare a hot breakfast on weekends for the families who are residing at Alpha House. These are but 3 of our congregation's many remarkable partnerships with other organizations in our community. There are more we could have highlighted today. Representatives for Habitat for Humanity and Friends of Restorative Justice will be speaking at this afternoon's gathering table. We hope you will be able to participate. Again, you can find the Zoom link by registering at the link found in the bulletin or in the February e-newsletter. Thank you for your attention.
In April of 1963, the civil rights movement was, in a word, floundering. Media attention dwindled, and a lot of the coverage that remained was negative. The fight for justice was plagued by infighting among activists, turf wars, competition over strategy and tactics, fewer and fewer volunteers, divisions within the Black population, and dissent from white liberal allies. A sense of despair and desperation permeated the air over Birmingham, Alabama, the epicenter of violent segregation in the Deep South. This is the way of movements for justice. Fits and starts, disagreements, stalled progress, mistakes, one step forward, two steps back. It is never a straight ascent up to the top of the mountain. There are valleys along the way, unexpected forks in the road that require tough choices and sacrifices. The journey of progress is paved with triumphs and defeats. Dr. King and his colleagues recognized that the movement desperately needed a new, fresh way forward, a new army, brimming with energy and righteous commitment, willing to risk everything for the cause of justice. A partner that was ready to live into the words of Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, "You have to be prepared to die before you can live in freedom." Our story for all ages this morning will be told in two parts by two readers. Let the Children March, written by Monica Clark Robinson, illustrated by Frank Morrison. Part 1, How the March Came to Be, read by Ruth Norton.
(1963), Birmingham, Alabama. I couldn't play on the same playground as the white kids. I couldn't go to their schools. I couldn't drink from their water fountains. There were so many things that I couldn't do. One warm spring night, my family went to church. We weren't there to have regular services. We were there to hear Dr. King speak. We were there to plan. He wanted to raise an army of peaceful protesters to fight for freedom. His brown eyes flashing fire and love, Dr. King told us the time had come to march. "If I march," Mama said, "I'll lose my job, sure enough." "I can't march," Daddy said. "I've got a family to feed." The weight of the world rested on our parents' shoulders, but this burden, this time, did not have to be theirs to bear. "I don't have a boss to fear," my brother said, "or a job to lose. We can march this time. We will be Dr. King's army," I said. "I'll be fine, Daddy," I promised. "Don't worry, Mama." Dr. King didn't like children being put in harm's way. He was a daddy too, after all. But he said that though we were young, we were not too young to want our freedom. Let the children march. They will lead the way. On May 2nd, a sunny Thursday, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, cousins and friends, we all met at the church, dressed in our best, feet ready. In a silence so loud that all I could hear was my racing heart, we began to walk. Hand in hand, we marched, so frightened, yet certain of what was right for freedom. The path may be long and troubled, but I'm gonna walk on. Would I be hurt? Would we be heard? Would it all be worth it in the end? I wanted to run from the angry faces in the crowd, run from danger, run from fear. Boys and girls, brothers and sisters, cousins and friends, on and on we marched. We marched, we marched. Singing the songs of freedom, 1,000 strong we came.
Thank you, Ruth. And they all lived happily ever after. Right? Well, we shall see. To be continued.
Friends for Restorative Justice is one of UUAA's partners, as you heard Quincy mention earlier. So it is an honor to invite Kathy Gourlay to share a bit more about what Friends of Restorative Justice does and why our financial support through our Sharing the Collection program is so important. She will also be part of the afternoon programming. Please join me in welcoming Kathy.
Thank you for having me. You're going to be sorry hearing so much about Friends of Restorative Justice in one day. But what we've do is broad, and what Quincy already shared, don't need to repeat. So, and I know what you do for your justice work is also broad too. So I thank you for that, and I thank you for sharing your collection with Friends of Restorative Justice this month. Our purpose, as you can imagine it, is to bring restorative justice to Washtenaw County and beyond. As many of you know, restorative justice is a different way of looking at crime or conflict. It sees crime as harm between people and their relationships. It is always voluntary, where the person who caused the harm and the one who was harmed desire it. They can sit down with a trained facilitator to discuss what happened, why it happened, get their questions answered, and for the affected parties themselves to decide what is the best way to make things as right as possible between them, whether it's paying restitution, repairing damage, getting an apology, whatever the two decide. It's very different from our current criminal legal system, which focuses on punishment, pushing people out of society, rather than restoration and healing, and it barely includes the person harmed. It's the state against the person who did the harm. And tying it in with a Black History Month and the theme today, as you know, our criminal legal system is quite racist, which was apparent to me the first time that I went into the system. And when you sit in the visiting room, you can see that it's like at least half people of color. And most of the people in prison don't even get visitors, so the ones that are, have poorer family members, they can't afford to travel to the prison to see them. For about 10 years, Friends of Restorative Justice has been at work in our county to improve its criminal legal system, and this congregation has been a part of our efforts. Many of your members are also members of Friends of Restorative Justice. We focus on education, promotion, and direct participation. We have invited experts from around the country to speak. For example, in 2015, we invited Fred Van Loo, a former prosecutor from Iowa, who spoke here in this building. Our most recent event last December was on Zoom. It was a panel about the intersection of people with mental disorders, crime, and restorative justice. We have also shown the play Tough Case numerous times, including here. It powerfully demonstrates restorative justice between a juvenile and an older woman whose home he vandalized. Some of us have been trained to do restorative justice and are facilitators in cases sent by the courts or the community at the Dispute Resolution Center. With our efforts, restorative justice became a key issue in the 2020 prosecutor's race. All three candidates said they were for restorative justice, which we take credit for, or at least some credit for that. And the current prosecutor, Ellie Savitt, is trying to implement restorative justice or doing more of it, and some of us serve on his advisory groups. In the coming year, 2023, we're going to focus on 3 areas. First, to help the Dispute Resolution Center obtain a better physical space in which to do restorative justice conferences. They want to get out of the courthouse and do it in a more community-centered space. Second, continue our push for judges and prosecutors to use restorative justice in cases. Third, do more public education. And fourth, work to get a state law passed that will allow restorative justice to be used at any stage of the criminal legal process, even post-conviction and post-sentencing. Your assistance will help us to expand restorative justice's use and its healing power. We'll have a table of information in the social hall after the service, and someone will be there to answer your questions. Thank you for this opportunity to speak, and also for your compassion toward everyone, both those who cause harm and those who are harmed. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. As you've just heard, the work of Friends of Restorative Justice is something clearly aligned with our values and vision. So please give as generously as you are able to support this important work. You may give online at uuaa.org/giving, text UUAA to 73256, or drop checks or cash in the basket if you are here in person. I invite the ushers now to come forward as our collection for Friends of Restorative Justice will gratefully be given and received.
Tis a gift to come down where you ought to be.
Thank you, Chalice singers. As the ushers come forward, would you rise in body or in spirit and join me in speaking the words we use to dedicate our gifts? Wait for the ushers to come forward. We acknowledge these gifts that you've gratefully given. Please join me. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings. You may be seated.
Let the Children March, Part 2, What Came Next, read by Avalon McNew.
Hate dogged my heels all that day, its yellowed canine teeth sharp, but courage walked by my side and kept me going. Disperse or you'll be jailed, the police shouted the first day. Disperse or you'll get wet, the police shouted the second day. Disperse or we'll release the dogs, the police shouted the third day. We did not disperse, we kept on marching. We wouldn't stop until things started to change. Hundreds of us went to jail on the first day, and even more on the second. My turn wasn't until the third day. After I was sprayed by water stronger than anything I've ever felt, rough hands pushed me forward and I fell to my knees in the police wagon. I was going to jail. Dr. King reassured our parents, "Don't worry about your children," he said. "They're going to be all right. Don't hold them back if they want to go to jail, for they are doing a job not only for themselves, but for all of America and for all mankind." That night, crowded into a cell too small for even half the kids, we sang, "We shall overcome," "Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round," and "Freedom is coming." Our parents couldn't be there with us, but still we sang, wrapped in the proud and loving arms of our ancestors. I was still in jail, but we heard that the next day and the next, more kids marched. The water hoses they used to sting us could not stop our fierce tide. The path may be long and troubled, but I'm gonna walk on. Turn the other cheek, we had been taught. Show love where there is hate. The world watched as hate bruised us, but for 7 days we walked only in love. The jail swelled to bursting, and even President Kennedy took notice. Daddy said the president received letters and calls about us from all over the world. Our march would become a memory, a small part of a larger story. But we had been heard, and the seeds of revolution were sown. 2 days and nights I stayed in the jail. Some stayed even longer. When I left, I was tired and sore, and my best dress was ripped, but my smile was as wide as the Mississippi River. I had made a difference. "I'm so proud of you, baby girl," Mama said. "Your march was what made them see." With nothing more than our feet, voices, and courage, we had done what others could not. Change was right around the corner. We felt it like a cool breeze in an Alabama August. On May 10th, the great news rang out. Dr. King had reached an agreement with the white leaders of the city. Desegregation would begin. 1 month later, I was playing on a playground I'd never been allowed to play on before. 2 months later, my family ate at a diner we'd never been allowed to eat in before. Our march made the difference. We children led the way. Singing the songs of freedom, 1,000 strong we came. The end.
Thank you, Ruth and Avalon. Last October, I spent 4 days in Birmingham, Alabama, with UU religious educators from across North America, focusing on the work of anti-racism in our congregations and in our communities. On the last morning, I woke early and walked with a colleague to Kelly Ingram Park, which sits across the street from the 16th Street Baptist Church. As we strolled through the park, marveling at the sculptures honoring the struggle for civil rights, and paused to stand in front of the church. I was overwhelmed by the sacred history that haunts these sites. The ghosts of the past were deeply present. It felt profound, monumental, holy. Here I stood in the very place where hundreds of brave Black children and youth, righteous in their cause and determined to change the world, demanded to be seen and heard in their wholeness, in their humanity. Centering children in the fight was deeply controversial. Even Dr. King was reluctant at first, but he would come around on the issue, saying simply that children who are old enough to join a church are old enough to make witness for justice. Just listen to the painful truth uttered by one young marcher. A lot of people thought the kids were going to get hurt, but the reality of it was that we were born Black in Alabama, and we were going to get hurt if we didn't do something. On May 2nd, which became known as D-Day or Ditch Day as the kids skipped out on school, hundreds and eventually thousands of teenagers gathered from across the region at the church, determined to re-energize a stalled movement for civil rights. Led by class presidents and prom queens, cheerleaders and football players, these high school students faced fire hoses and snarling dogs, jeers and abuse, and incarceration in overpacked jail cells, with courage and resilience to guide them forward. One participant recalled his mother warning him not to go to jail because those people would hurt him, and he said simply, "No, they're not, because we've got God on our side." Every day, more and more kids joined in, knowing that the violent forces of Jim Crow awaited them on the streets of Birmingham. Day after day, they marched and sang and demanded that white America confront the ugly reality of racism. From an account by a 12-year-old participant, it was the first time that people around the nation, including other Black children, had witnessed social action on the part of African American children over television. They saw the gross mistreatment of Black adults and children alike by Alabama's and Birmingham's white establishment, from the police who brutally unleashed their dogs to bite us, to firemen who used their powerful hoses to knock down little girls and boys. We learned that America at its best cares deeply about its children, and that children touch the conscience of adults. The nation's conscience was stirred, and people of all colors came to see this struggle not simply as a racial conflict, but as a question of American justice. The Children's March changed everything at a time of deep uncertainty and paralysis. These incredible, inspiring kids faced down intense threats, showed up for justice, and within a week, white officials in Birmingham agreed to begin the process of desegregation. A week. It was a unifying event that imbued activists with new energy and purpose. A movement in disarray found its footing again. Kids know that radical change is possible, and they make it happen. Young activists have long been on the front lines in the fight for peace, freedom, and justice. Black Lives Matter, Standing Rock, Tiananmen Square, the Arab Spring, the March for Our Lives, the Soweto Uprising, the School Strike for Climate. It's a blessedly long list. Where would we be without their strength, bravery, and resilience? The work of justice is messy and exhausting. It requires sacrifice and risk-taking and trust. It demands solidarity and collaboration and partnerships. It is nurtured by hope and love. We lean on each other. We lift each other. May we honor the hundreds of young heroes that took to the streets in May of 1963 and altered the course of our nation. Most of their names may be lost to history, but their impact is impossible to overstate. May they continue to inspire us as we write the next chapter in the long struggle for a truly inclusive, beloved community.
I invite you to rise and body your spirit as we join together in singing number 1023, Building Bridges. Number 1023. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we can make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, would you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Such a moving story of the Birmingham Children's March, which reminds us of the courage, bravery, and commitment that working towards nurturing justice can require of us, even of our youngest members among us. Justice and the work of building and nurturing justice takes more than just bravery, courage, and commitment. It also requires of us relationship and the work of relationship building. And I wanted to say a few words about this, relational aspects of nurturing and working towards justice. We heard a little earlier in our service about the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. For those who don't know, this is our preeminent denominational level institution that works towards building justice in the wider world. In the United States, yes, but globally, really working in many, many areas of the world. And the model that is utilized, it represents some of the best of what Unitarian Universalist social justice work can look like and can be. It is a model grounded in partnership, in relationship. The Unitarian Universalist Service Committee does not try to create additional or new capacity on its own by itself. It doesn't do that. It partners for the long run, for the long haul, with grassroots organizations in communities that are directly impacted by injustice in any number of ways. This model of relational justice making allows those impacted communities, those grassroots partners, to lead. Those impacted communities identify what the needs are, what their needs are on the front lines of injustice or oppression, and what the opportunities might be that would make their lives better. They then, identifying those opportunities and needs, come to us collectively as Unitarian Universalists and say, hey, here's what we need on the front lines of climate change, on islands that are threatened to be submerged, and communities and cultures that might disappear entirely. This is what we might need. This is what justice and equity might look like for our community. Here's the list of things that would help. What can you do? From those things, what can you do? So this is not a model where me or any of us individually are deciding, for example, what the people and communities on the front line of climate devastation, what we think they might need, but rather them telling us, here is what we know will make our lives better, what's gonna help make a positive difference. Can you help in that way? And our answer collectively is yes. Through relationship, through friendship, through partnership, we show up over and over again saying yes, let us offer our help and our support in the ways that we can. It's a powerful justice-making model, one that I've seen firsthand the impact it can have. And I experienced this most profoundly when I was still in seminary. My home congregation in Washington, D.C., it's called All Souls Church Unitarian, had been working in the District of Columbia trying to get district-level marriage equality legislation adopted. And yet, at that point in time, the very significant Black communities in the District of Columbia were not in favor of marriage equality being adopted in the district. This led to Unitarian Universalists there not trying to convince their neighbors that they should somehow magically become pro-marriage equality, but rather they focused on relationship and friendship first. They went to those significant Black communities that we wanted to build, we Unitarian Universalists wanted to build relationship and connection with. And we said, what are you all working on? What does your community need? And they discovered, very significantly, that the Black community in the District of Columbia wanted clean water for their families and their kids. The district has notorious difficulties with lead in the drinking water, and the lead was poisoning minority communities and their children. And they wanted clean drinking water. And we Unitarian Universalists said, yes, everyone should have clean drinking water. Let us partner with you in getting the changes passed that are needed for that. And after that, other issues, affordable housing, economic equity. We began partnering in deep and meaningful ways with our Black community neighbors in the District of Columbia. And over time, what happened was that those partnerships became friendships. And from a place of friendship, those communities and the leaders in those communities began to say, well, what are you all working on? What are your interests in justice? Marriage equality, that's not something that we have focused on, but we're friends. Tell us why. Tell us why that's a priority for your community. And through that friendship, through that relationship, hearts and minds were changed from a place of friendship, from a place of relationship. And the district did adopt marriage equality, with the Black communities of the district overwhelmingly supporting it, with time, with patience, from a place of relationship. These are the principles that ground Unitarian Universalist justice-making work at its best, and it informs how we at First UU Ann Arbor in our community engage in that work. When we support the work of justice for migrants, we let the migrants and their families identify what they need, either while they're in detention or coming out of immigration detention. What do they need to begin seeking the legal support that they need to start building a life here in the United States as they wait for asylum proceedings to happen? We do this work here in the field of restorative justice, allowing those who are incarcerated or formerly incarcerated and now trying to build a life for themselves, identify what they need to live into greater justice, greater equity. We do this when we show up for the work that Habitat for Humanity, Alpha House, and others that are working on housing equity, housing affordability, housing insecurity. We let those living on the margins of economic marginalization tell us this is what we need to make our lives better. This is what justice looks like, and we show up. We show up over and over again saying, yes, we Unitarian Universalists can support you. We want to support you. We want to support greater justice in our wider world. We collectively build the change the world needs by modeling how to live into that change from the beginning. And from the very beginning, one of the crucial ingredients is relationship. We invite you, all of our members of our community, to please join our lay leaders this afternoon in exploring these topics more deeply and exploring how each of us can live into that aspiration of justice built and grounded in relationship.
I lead with my spirit, keeping love in the circle around me, expressing my spirit, loving what I can see and cannot see. I take care of the vessel I'm in. I love the me that's under the skin, taking care of my mind, envisioning the me I want to be. I lead my spirit, keeping love in the circle around me, expressing my spirit, loving what I can see and cannot see. I take care of the vessel I'm in. I love the me that's under the skin, taking care of my mind, envisioning the me I want to be. I lead with my spirit, keeping love in the circle around me, expressing my spirit, loving what I can see and cannot see. I take care of the vessel I'm in. I love the me that's under this skin, taking care of my mind, envisioning the me I want to be. Keeping love in the circle around me, I lead my spirit, keeping love in the circle around me, I lead my spirit, keeping love in the circle.
Will you repeat after me? I am a justice leader. Relationships matter. I'll show up for others. We can change the world.
Keeping love in the circle around me, expressing my spirit.
Beloveds, please rise in body or spirit for our closing thoughts, our benediction. When we speak of relationship, relationship is always grounded in love. It is always grounded in that wellspring of caring and compassion in our hearts for the plight of others, for the struggles of others, for the experiences of others. Go forth into this new week, allowing that wellspring that resides in you of love, of caring, of compassion, let it be what guides you, your words, your deeds, your actions, and most especially, let it guide your commitment to helping build a world that is informed by love and a greater sense of justice. To this we dedicate ourselves, our lives. This is who we are as Unitarian Universalists. Go in love and peace until we are together again. Amen.